You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Brian Kelly and his staff have done it again. They have gone into the transfer portal and landed yet another player who we all presume will be a starter. This time it is Jarrick Bernard-Converse. He did, in fact, tweet the news earlier today, tweeting, "I'm home, let's work," with a graphic that he put up on social media. So Jarrick Bernard-Converse, a 4-year starter at cornerback at Oklahoma State, a first-team All-Big 12 cornerback, is now officially a member of the LSU football team. He tweeted the news, and then a short time later, LSU football released his the official graphic in word that he has signed. So this is done. He is enrolled at LSU. He is part of this program now. Another major get for Brian Kelly and this LSU football team and staff for 2022. Just one quick note. I want to talk specifically about Jarrick Bernard-Converse in a second, but I found it interesting that I saw a list of the top 10 college football programs that have been most helped by the transfer portal, and naturally LSU was on that list. And this was at ESPN.com. The list was Southern Cal, LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Florida State, Nebraska, Arkansas, Indiana, Florida, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma. So just what jumps off the page, Southern Cal, LSU, Florida, Oklahoma all have new coaches. So naturally 4 schools that saw turnover with their coaching staff have dipped into the portal. The others are programs that generally aren't going to be able to recruit 4- and 5-star guys, so they're supplementing their roster with experienced college football players, maybe at a lower level, who are looking to take a step up. South Carolina, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Texas Tech, Nebraska. So that's kind of where LSU finds itself right now. You're not landing the big splash name. You're not landing the 5-star, the Elias Ricks. You lost Elias Ricks, obviously. You're not landing that guy, but you're landing a cumulative amount of players with major college football experience that are going to help you remake your roster. So, I mean, you kind of look at it and say, well, LSU this year's probably like an Ole Miss, a Florida State, a Nebraska. And that makes a little bit of sense as you see how the roster's pieced together. But specifically with Jarrick Bernard-Converse, this is just a massive get. There's no other way to put it, because this is a guy who not only was he an all Big 12 player this year, for one of the best defenses in the country there at Oklahoma State, but he's also a guy at a massive position of need. I would argue there was no greater position of need for LSU to address here in this offseason than cornerback. When you look at losing Stingley and Flott to the draft, Ricks and McLaughlin to the transfer portal, you lost your top 4 guys at that position. You lost your top 4. And then Darren Evans graduated. So you only had 2 guys. We've been over this before, but you only had 2. Demarius McGee and Radarius Jones. Demarius McGee played in 1 game, the bowl game, when you had nobody. It's the only game he's played in. And then Radarius Jones has been a backup during his time in Baton Rouge, his 2 years in Baton Rouge. You signed LaTerrence Welsh and Jordan Allen, but essentially you're looking at a list where Radarius Jones is your most experienced cornerback. So when you look at what they've been able to do now at corner, they've added Jarrick Bernard-Converse and Mekhi Gardner from ULL. So Bernard-Converse, 47 games played in his career. 47 games started in his career. 4-year starter. First team All Big 12. 6'1", 200, long corner with tons of experience from Louisiana. Went to Evangel, was a 3-star, not highly rated, goes to Oklahoma State, starts immediately. He was a high school safety. They put him at corner, and he has flourished there. He led one of the best defenses in the Big 12 and in the country this past season with really in all of his defensive statistical categories. In 4 years, 195 tackles, 24 passes defensed, 4 sacks, 2 picks. He's going to be your starter on one side. Mekhi Gardner, 6'2", 217, another guy that was lightly recruited, goes to ULL, starts in 19 games over 2 years there in Lafayette. Now he comes in, and you've got your starting tandem. One guy that started 47 games and one guy that started 19. You went from literally no experience to now 2 very experienced starters, and now you have depth behind them with Radarius Jones and Demarius McGee and LaTerrence Welch and Jordan Allen. And they may not be done. Maybe they could move Jay Ward back to corner in a pinch if they need it. They could sign another corner out of high school in this class. We'll see what happens a week from today when the February signing period begins. And it could always be a surprise. I mean, there are so many examples of those, especially at this position where a guy's able to step in and the stage just isn't too big. I'll never forget being in Jerry World in 2013, watching LSU open the season against TCU. And there's Rashard Robinson running out there in his first game as a true freshman. And y'all, Rashard Robinson was as skinny as a pencil. He probably weighed $160, and he's out there making plays. And because he was a late qualifier academically, he didn't go through fall camp. He showed up like 10 days before that opener, and boom, he's on the field against TCU making plays. Remember Greedy Williams? Going into 2017, we were all expecting Christian Fulton to take that massive leap. Well, Fulton was suspended for the obvious story that we know. You have an injury, and boom, now it's Greedy Williams. Greedy went from redshirting in 2016. He redshirted. Who redshirts? He redshirted. And then he's out there against BYU, makes a pick, maybe even a couple of picks in that first game. And then he went on to have a great couple of seasons in Baton Rouge. So, point is, you never know. Maybe LaTerrence Welch shows up the first day and he's ready to roll. Maybe he's ready as a true freshman, ready to rumble. I don't know. But at least now you have numbers and you have options at that position. Look, somebody said earlier today, LSU needing all these transfers. Well, it's a result of the NIL. No. I think you got a little confused. If you're missing out on high school prospects, that could be because others are making better NIL offers. What's happening with LSU right now, and this is their 12th transfer in this class, they are supplementing this roster because Ed Ogeron left it decimated. Your numbers were atrocious. He did not manage this roster appropriately. So Brian Kelly's had to step in, and you have 2 options. You either sign 25 high school kids, have a really young team, and you're just short on numbers, or you can sign high school kids and go supplement your roster with guys that have played major college football so it helps that transition and you're not atrocious in 2022. For perspective, if you're wondering, is this the norm? Of course it's not going to be. Look at the teams that were at the top of college football this year. Georgia has not added a single transfer. 0. Georgia has not added a single transfer yet to this class. Bama, who they beat in the title game, has added 3. Michigan, who was in the Final Four, has added 1. Notre Dame, who is just on the outside looking in, has added 2. And that's with a coaching change. So, point being, you will always supplement through the portal, but LSU is building the 2022 roster through the portal out of necessity. And they might not be done, y'all. They might not be done. They still have spots to go and another week to see how it's all going to finish. With signing day 1 week from today on Wednesday, February the 2nd, we'll obviously be watching. But Jarrick Bernard-Converse is the latest. All Big 12 cornerback, and LSU has addressed the most glaring need on its defense, and I would argue on the entire roster, with a couple of guys who should be able to step in and be day one starters if they need them to be. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.